so much, Sindhu, for such a wonderful introduction to the topic, I would say. I think it's very relevant today, and I'm very excited to speak to you all. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Shayani. I am a Swasthya coach. Yes, I was diagnosed with PCOD when I was in my school, and I have been battling it for 7 years through my college, in the initial years when I started working. And I was my parents, myself, we were all looking for solutions, different kinds, but I could find the answer with lifestyle modification, right? And I'm going to share my cheat sheet of PCOD with you towards the end of my talk. So be with me, because it's important to understand what is it all about. um, let's start with a very interesting incident that happened. So I'm from Kolkata. So, I go home, and, there is, I have a lot of cousin sisters. And, one of them goes to college, and they were hanging out at our home. So there were a bunch of college girls, hanging out, and I was there, you know. I could hear their discussion. So there were around 5 to 6 girls, and all of them were kind of trying to make a girl understand something. So I got curious. So I was just hearing them out. So all of them were trying to make one girl understand that, see, even if you do not have PCOD right now, you will have it. Don't worry. We all have PCOD. And you know what? All this mood swings, this weight gain is because of PCOD. And don't worry, it cannot be fixed anyways. And there's a high chance we'll not be able to start a family also. So don't worry. So that kind of conversation is something the college girls were having. Okay, now what does it mean? Okay, so if I very simplify it, there are two things that comes out of it. That 1 out of 3 women have PCOD today. We all know the stats, right? That is scary, because 50 years back, people hardly knew about PCOD. So it's a new age disorder, correct? The second thing, 70% of women are not even aware of it. They don't even know what is the root cause. They don't even know what is the solution. They're just living with the confusion. Correct? So this is what is a real-time story that I just shared with you. Now, can I see a quick raise of hand of if you have PCOD or you know someone who has PCOD? Can you see a quick raise of hand? You know someone who has PCOD, or you yourself are going through PCOD? I'm sure maximum hands will come up, because it has become a household term right now, unfortunately. Correct? So let me start, with the basic understanding. Okay, so I'm not here to take a science class, not to bore you on a Saturday night, of course. So let me share my screen, and just let me give a very simple idea about what is PCOD. Okay, I will just play this. I hope my screen is visible to all of you. Yeah. Okay. Super. Okay, so what is PCOD? Okay, so let's just quickly understand the fundamentals, like how your normal ovaries function and how does polycystic ovary function. Okay, see, so this is a female reproductive organ. We have uterus where we bear the child, and we have ovaries which takes care of the monthly egg creation, right? This is the very basics. You can, drop your questions in the chat, so that we can take it up later on. We're trying to make it very simple. Okay, so every month our ovary will create one egg, and that gets, that's initially it's an immature one, and then it eventually become matured, and it then passes on to the fallopian tube. In case it gets fertilized, well and good, it goes, into the uterus, and there the zygote, the baby formation happens. Okay. Um, Sometimes when the fertilization does not happen, this particular ovum will shrivel up. Okay, it will be now, it will become a waste, and it will move on. Correct? So that is the normal cycle. What happens with PCOD is that the follicles gets confused. Put in a very simple word. So the follicles which are immature either do not become a mature follicle. That's why, a lot of women does not have a menstrual cycle, because, the next steps are not being taken care of, or the ovum does not know how to shrivel up. Okay, so that's why you see scary cyst in your USG report. Okay, so cysts are nothing but confused follicles, which does not know where to go. Very simple. Okay, now let's understand a couple of things. Okay, now what is the topmost reason of PCOD? Okay, it is insulin resistance. I think most of your doctors have told you this term, but it is important to understand what is insulin resistance very quickly. Okay, let me play this short video. So our body has something called pancreas. Okay, now pancreas is responsible to produce insulin every time we eat. All of you have heard about insulin hormone, correct? So the food enters, it is broken down into glucose, correct? So the pancreas will go ahead and produce insulin so that this glucose can enter our cells because it's a food for our body, correct? Now, the problem happens when the cells become so sensitive of too much of insulin production that it does not allow the cell to open up because of insulin. So what will happen? Your insulin is trying to open your cell to make sure that the glucose goes in, but it is not able to go in. So what happens? Your cells are starving. So what will it do? It will send a signal to your brain and tell that, I'm very hungry, give me food. But your blood, sugar, your blood already has so much of glucose in it. You keep eating, the sugar piles on, but your cells are not getting the nutrient it requires. Okay, this is one of the biggest reason behind PCOD. Now you might be very confused that insulin, pancreas, how does it even impact an ovary, right? It is because, see, in our body, every hormones are working in synergy. It is like, have you all played this game called Chinese Whisper? Can I see a raise of hand? How many of you, played this game called Chinese Whisper? Maybe you start with a word called, let's say, biryani, and you maybe end up with a word called, something that we don't enjoy eating, maybe loki, right? So, that is Chinese Whisper. You start with something, but you end up with a different word altogether. Same happens with our hormones. One hormone, if it does not work properly or it is, getting confused in the pathway, all other hormones get impacted. Okay. Now, all of you understand insulin resistance. You understand how the, PCOD is actually happening inside our body. Now, what makes PCOD complicated? Okay. Now, this slide has too many things, but I'll tell you what, you don't have to read through. The thing that makes PCOD complicated is that insulin resistance is not only the root cause. If you go ahead, all of you are, we are all AI generation, right? So we all do go and do ChatGPT and Gemini and so many other tools, right? If you just go ahead and search how many root causes are there in the PCOD, it'll give you the highest number of possibilities. And I've just listed 10 here, apart from insulin resistance. That makes PCOD complicated. That makes PCOD confusing. Correct? Because you don't know what to fix. You're so confused. Insulin resistance fix kare or, I'll just read it through. Androgen levels can be disrupted. Your follicle stimulating hormone or your, LH can be imbalanced. There can be endocrine disruptors because of too much of toxin overload inside your body. You can be obese. It can be your stress. It can be vitamin D deficiency. It can be thyroid imbalance. It can be more production of testosterone in the body, which is a male hormone. It can be more amount of estrogen in your body, which is a female hormone. Or it can be simply a cortisol disruption, where your stress is so much, it's a chronic stress, your body does not know how much cortisol to produce and how much to not. Okay. This makes PCOD super complicated because it is very important to pinpoint what is the root cause. And most of the time, what we do, okay, PCOD, we make some changes, but it is all over the place. It is all over the place, and we do not know where to hit the bullseye. That makes it most confusing. Let me move on. So again, I am also, AI generation. So I also asked ChatGPT today, can you give me how many symptoms can PCOD have? Okay. So it gave me a list of 100 plus. Can you imagine? It is one of the lifestyle disorder, which is more than 100 symptoms. This makes PCOD complicated again. Can you imagine, right? A person having PCOD. Now, by the way, what is the difference between PCOD and PCOS? A lot of people have asked this question. PCOD is where one thing got disrupted in the process, in this, female fertility process or reproductive process. Syndrome is where multiple things have got disrupted. So one woman can literally have all the 100 symptoms. Why not? More the chronic the issue is, they can end up having so many symptoms. So it is very important. Even if someone is trying to fix the symptoms, is it really possible to fix 100 plus symptoms? Not really. Correct? So what happens? So let's go to the next. point. So now we know that there are a lot of complications. We know that there are a lot of root cause. Now, let's say you leave the hope. Okay, Shiny, as anyways, you are not giving us any hope. You're telling us there are so many symptoms. You're telling us there are so many root cause. Uh, I thought I'll get some hope from your talk today. So I'll just leave it untreated. That is also not your choice, guys. Okay, because PCOD, can be defined in a different way as well. PCOD is something which can lead to multiple other complications. It can potentially lead to infertility. It can lead to cardiovascular issues, cancers, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. So these are other acronyms. If you have PCOD, you might end up having this in another couple of months or year. Correct? So now, what are the conventional solutions that we have, right? Now, we do not want to put any solution down today. That's not the purpose. But it is also to tell you what is long-term and what is short-term. Okay? See, just imagine your hand, let's say there's a fracture in your hand and you try to, and obviously you have a fracture, so you have pain and swelling. So what can you possibly do? You can use a chat box and share it with me. What can you possibly do? You have a fracture in your hand. What will you possibly do? You will have pain, swelling. So you can take a painkiller, correct? You can take a drug so that the swelling can come down. You can take some cold compress, everything. But until and unless you fix the fracture, do you think that pain and swelling will go away? Not really. For the pain and swelling to really go away, you need to fix the fracture. A lot of time we are just doing the same. We are fixing the pain and the swelling for PCOD and not fixing the root cause at all. So when it comes to some of the commonly used drugs out there, starting from the OCPs, the birth control pills, it can be, metformin, which kind of tries to take care of your insulin resistance. It is like for that day, I'm giving you these external hormones, I'm taking care of you. You remove me, I'm back to square one. Correct? So unfortunately, none of the solution, even your doctors will tell you, is a long-term solution, which will, you can proudly say that, yes, I have controlled PCOD. Correct? So what can now, what can we do, right? So now let's get into, without any further ado, let's get into the cheat sheet very quickly. Okay? There are a couple of things that I used to do, which I'm going to talk about today, which I would not say that a full-baked solution, okay? Because I'm no one to give you a full-baked solution here because I don't know your body. I do not know what is actually happening inside your body. I do not know your symptoms. I do not know your root cause either. Okay. But I'll tell you few things which are generic, which will definitely bring you some relief. So that's the cheat sheet all about. Okay. So let us go through it one by one. So these are the steps which you can immediately take. You don't have to think about it. You can just go back and just start it tomorrow. Okay. So one thing that I have understood is that there is a seed called fenugreek seed, which is available in everyone's kitchen. How many of you have fenugreek seeds? Can you raise your hand? You have it? Super. Very good. So let's just soak fennel and fenugreek seeds today night. If someone is suffering for PCOD, this is one of the best seed for insulin resistance. It is one of the best, seed which can take care of, if you soak it overnight, drink it in the morning. Fennel seed is for the cooling effect because fenugreek comes with a hot in nature. So this is one of the detox which can help you with your insulin resistance big time. Okay, definitely when it comes to insulin resistant, only detox will not work. We have to focus on our meal. And that brings you to the second point. We have to make sure, see, one thing that most of the girls who have PCOD are concerned about is proteins. They understand, okay, we have to eat more protein and less carbs. But one thing that they miss out on, I'll say two things. One is fiber and probiotic. If you just can track there is fiber and probiotic in every meal or at least in a day, trust me, that diet which has just protein and carbs will go to next level. You will see much more difference in your overall well-being. You will feel much more energetic. You'll see that your cravings go down big time, and you will see that your mental health improves because that takes care of your gut, right? Third thing, there is another very powerful detox which has worked for me, which is nothing but raw turmeric and raw garlic. Okay, so raw turmeric, so all these are available in our kitchen, right? Turmeric is, a very powerful antioxidants. Garlic is also, having a lot of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory impact, right? So this particular detox is something which I should take before my heavy meals, mostly lunch and dinner. And this has given me tremendous help in terms of bringing down the inflammation. Okay. Number 4, A lot of girls are confused about what workout to do. Shall we do more intense, or should we just leave all the intense workout and just do focus on the simple movement? I would say let's do 3:2:2 rule here. This is what worked for me. So what is 3:2:2? 3 days in a week you do yoga, 2 days you go for strength, and 2 days you go for cardio. It can be as simple as taking, a run or a walk. I think Sindhu was talking about running. Why don't we just go for it for 2 days? Correct? It can be that simple. Correct? Fifth one. See, stress, it's like this, PCOD will cause stress, stress will cause PCOD. It's like the chicken and the egg scenario here. Correct? So you don't know, if you have stress, you will end up having PCOD, might be. So one of the beautiful way which has worked for me to take care of my business is early in the first thing in the morning, I'll write down the things that I'm grateful for. It really, really helps me start my day in a positive note, and I can really focus on the 98% of positive and let go the 2% of negative, and that takes care of my, stress levels throughout the day. Okay. Now next, sixth one. Okay, how many of you want to know? Okay, I'll not show. How many? Give me a raise of hand. How many of you want to learn about the next 5? Are you sleepy? You're excited? Then I want to see some, raise of hand if you want to learn the other 5. Okay, super awesome. Okay, so the other 5. Okay, 6 is that I switched to Khapli wheat. I'm not asking you to, a lot of time people say, okay, I have to leave everything, no gluten, no dairy. At least you can switch to low gluten varieties. Correct? Why not? I have recently, not recently, Khapli wheat is a switch that has helped me because a very low gluten, wheat source. Correct? There's a very wild variety of wheat, right? So that's one thing that has helped. 7, your kitchen auditing has to happen. Your kitchen should not have any plastic. It should not have any Teflon. It should not have any other metal which leaches very easily like aluminum. See, it's very hard, to make changes in the kitchen because, we have built it one utensil at a time, right? But we have to let go a few things, correct, when it comes to our health. 8, one thing that we forget completely, okay, we are talking about food and this and that, but a lot of things are getting absorbed through our skin as well, right? So all the skincare, anything that we touch or comes in contact with our skin should not have paraben in it. Paraben is another agent which causes high amount of inflammation in our body. Number 9, I think you've seen, right? One of the biggest root cause of PCOD is vitamin D deficiency. Now you tell me, quick raise of hand, how many of you have seen that your vitamin D is low on your report? I think 90% of Indians will raise their hand because vitamin D is low, geographically is low in India for Indian people. Okay. So I would recommend that go back, get this test done, vitamin B, D, and magnesium. If any of this comes low, we know that, we have to supplement it and increase the levels in our body, right? And the last one that, and the last one is the most important one, by the way. The one thing that I did when, I wanted to work on my PCOD seriously with lifestyle modification is assessment. Okay. What do I mean by that? Okay. See, when you look at a blood report, what do you see? The damages which are already happened, correct? The damages, for example, let's say if you have diabetes, your HbA1c will be high, correct? But the body is throwing 100 plus symptoms, you just saw, your body is throwing warning signals to you at the very beginning. So it is important to catch those signals early on so that we can truly take a preventive action. See, how many of you feel that, PCOD should be prevented? It should not be only cured and controlled, right? It should be prevented as well. For that, we need to take care of this assessment called True North Profile. It's a set of questions which helps a coach to understand what is possibly going wrong, which is not showing up in your blood reports yet. Okay, so in blood reports, I recommend HbA1c, liver function test, this luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone test, which tells you if the damages has already occurred. And the second assessment is called the symptomatic assessment, when we are trying to catch your signals and trying to find out, what are the possible root cause that we need to fix here. Okay. I found this beautiful quote, before you build, you survey, correct? And before you heal, you assess, right? The depth of your understanding determines the height of your health. How many of you agree with it, right? So I want to ask a question, right? How many of you now really feel that your confusion is because you do not know what is the root cause? Your confusion is because you do not know the solution. So How many of you, can I see a quick raise of hand that how many of you feel it's important to first start with the assessment, right? You definitely go ahead and apply everything in the cheat sheet because there are very generic solutions that everyone can try out. But how many of you feel that, you can go back and just take those simple blood reports? Can just go back and take that simple assessment done with your coach, whoever has invited you, your Swasthya coach or your volunteer who has invited you. Just go back, and this is a simple step that you can take today, right? I think the confusion is from the unknown, correct? So I want you to do one thing. If you're listening to me, if I'm making sense to you, if you feel that yes, if something, if Shiny has got a solution, if hundreds of women have got a solution with PCOD, with Swasthya, I want you to go back and DM PCOD to the person who has invited you. That person will give you the list of things that will help you to assess your root cause. Can you go back and do that? Just DM PCOD to the person who has invited you, and they'll tell you exactly what are the things you need to check for and assess. See, actions can only be taken when you're informed, when you're aware, correct? So that's one thought I want you to, I want you to leave you today with, correct? I think my cheat sheet is out there. Go back, implement most of it. I want to just tell you that PCOD is um, not a puzzle. Okay, PCOD is a lifestyle disorder. It can be tackled with simple lifestyle modification. Just believe in it and start with the assessment. That's all I wanted to share today. And back to the host.